And welcome. This is the news on NTA International, reaching you live in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. My name is Justin Bemunyi. First, let's look at the headlines. World marks first International Day of Care and Support. European Union donates 105 armored vehicles to Ghana to bolster fight against terrorism and violent extremism. Plus, African Development Bank announces financial commitment of $4.4 billion to develop some projects in Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, mindful of the need to invest in the care economy and to create robust, resilient, gender-responsive, disability-inclusive and age-sensitive care and support systems with full respect for human rights, with a view to recognizing, reducing, valuing and redistributing unpaid care and domestic work and support, the General Assembly decided to proclaim 29th October as International Day of Care and Support. It also stressed the need to recognize and value paid care work and care workers as essential workers and the need to adopt measures to combat gender stereotypes related to care and support, as well as those related to interracial, race, ethnicity, age and migratory status to reduce occupational segregation for care work, facilitate and transition from informal to formal work and decent work, as well as the need to realize women's right to work and rights at work for those with care responsibilities, equal pay for work of equal value. The objective of the day is to increase public awareness of the significance of social care and assistance, which sadly is still an area that is frequently disregarded and underestimated. And now to speak more on the International Day of Care and Support is Vice Chairman Health, Social Care and Insurance, FCT Consultative Forum, National Senior Citizen Center, Dr. NTAi Award. We're glad to have you join us on NTA International.
Thank you.
Yes, we're talking about the International Day of Care and Support, and the theme for the day 2023 is care, driving a fair and inclusive recovery. What do you make of this?
Thank you so much. This is the inaugural celebration of the vessels of the day, and coming from the activities of the International Trade Union and we are happy that the day has eventually come, and the theme is very apt, looking at the world recovering from various economic and, will I say, health issues, industrial health issues, the COVID-19 pandemic. Look at the Sustainable Development Goals, that you are not going to leave anybody behind. So everybody has to be carried along, inclusive growth and recovery. So we have got to look at that theme of care and who are the people that really need this care. So you've got to identify them. The vulnerables, the older people, those that have been left behind, the women, those that have already been down there in the social spheres, that have already suffered neglect. So the time has come that they have to be recognized, and it's the duty for all. Well, so the individual, the society, and everybody, government, non-governmental organizations, we have come together to provide care and support to those that need them most. You've got to identify them.
Interestingly, it has never happened before. What does it mean to celebrate the first International Day of Care and Support? And of course, how significant is it?
It means a lot. It's bringing awareness. It's reminding countries that are part of the UN agencies that have signed to various protocols, and they are now to set up the systems and structures to drive the practicals. So we are not just, we are going to walk the talk. Countries have got to move in and come to terms with all those protocols that we have signed, and make sure that the workplace and the gender issues and the issues of child labor and the issue of neglect of older people, that they are all brought to the fore, and resources and multi-sectoral and multi approaches are applied to make sure that you ease the burden and include all the populations, the layers of populations in the care support.
Well, Dr. Iwot, just before I let you go, a quick one here. What role do you think we, can we play in seeing why this day was set aside is achieved?
Awareness is very important too. Secondly, government has got to do well, and Nigeria is already doing very well. I want to tell you that in this country, we are looking at peace legislation and human rights and right issues. Democracy is already here, and in terms of rights, because care and support, they are right issues. Nigeria, the President Tinubu has approved the protocol to the African Charter on Human and Rights, and then that was in October 23rd. Having had the protocol signed in 2020 by the previous government in February. So Nigeria is already set on that. So right issues on care and support has already been established in this country. Two, we have the NSCC, National Senior Citizen Center, in terms of older people that have been neglected, that are coming on board for a lot of programming that is going to reintegrate them into society, useful engagement. And we have got to set up regulations that the quality of care to start with is guaranteed. So regulations, we have to do standards, we have to make sure that the facilities and the curricula for training caregivers are optimal and of global standard. Nigeria has already done that. So we have regulations for care facilities, we have regulations for social caregivers that has become a national skill sector now. That working with the National Board of Technical Education, this is explosive.
Well,
and Nigeria being the 13th country in Africa to ratify that African human rights and personal rights charter.
Well, thank you so much.
To do that.
Thank you so much, Dr. NTAi Iwot. Thank you so much for your time with us on NT International.
Thank you so much for this time.
Now moving on, the African Development Bank has announced financial commitment of $4.4 billion to develop some projects in Nigeria, making it the largest investment in Africa. Now, this was confirmed by the Director General, Nigeria Country Department of AFDB, Lamin Barrow, during this year's Joint Country Portfolio Performance Review meeting between the bank and the Ministry of Finance's International Economic Relations Department.
Yearly Country Portfolio Performance Review Workshop, CPPR, provides a platform for the AFDB and Federal Ministry of Finance to jointly assess the performance and quality of the portfolio of bank finance projects in Nigeria for the sovereign operations. This year's CPPR workshop is the first under Tinubu's administration, and the AFDB's Nigeria Country Director General, Lamin Barrow, commends the federal government for its recent policy changes, such as the removal of fuel subsidies and the unification of foreign exchange rates. Barrow also expressed his satisfaction with the increased submission rate of procurement plans, which has risen from 72% to 82%, and the Federal Executive Council's approval of the Ekiti Knowledge Zone project.
We are also pleased that the share of startup delays has decreased from 32% of flag operations in June 2023 to 28% in October. And this is expected to reduce further to 8% by the end of December 2023 with timely and targeted actions for specific projects.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian government has commended the AFDB's partnership towards achieving national development priorities. Director of the International Economic Relations Department, Stanley George, however, confirmed there are challenges preventing seamless implementations of the portfolio.
That the portfolio of over $4 billion is a loan to
to be repaid by our children and grandchildren. The least we can do for them, for these children and grandchildren, is to ensure that these projects are implemented in a timely manner.
The CPPR is an interactive session underpinned by the principles of partnership and mutual accountability between the AFDB, the government, and where appropriate, the co-financiers. Justin Bemunyi.
And committed to Nigeria's development. He started this at a send-forth event organized for him by the Nigerian community in the UK. Correspondent Olawale Hamzat reports.
It was a joyous moment, a time for reflection, as the Nigerian community in the UK sent forth the Nigerian High Commissioner, Ambassador Sharafat Shola.
Heroes past shall never be in vain.
Encomiums poured in from various groups and associations of Nigerians living in the UK who attested to the giant strides recorded in the 2-year tenure of the Artigoon High Commissioner.
He came during COVID when there was a backlog of 16,000 passport applications. We worked together with him. Within 3-4 months, we cleared that backlog. You know, that's just to tell you how energetic and enthusiastic the man is.
There was a time Nigeria, our country, was placed on the red list for COVID, and it caused an incredible amount of hardship for fellow Nigerians. His Excellency went on global media in viral interviews stating, as the giant of Africa, Nigeria had no business being on that list, and spoke clearly, eloquently, stating his point so wonderfully. And it is because of him all African countries were removed from that list.
Ambassador Sharifa was elated and expressed deep appreciation for the support he enjoyed from the Nigerian community and the British authority under his leadership.
We should show more sense of patriotism about our country. That's the only country many of us have, and nobody will come and develop it.
Earlier in August, President Mohamed Tinubu had approved the recall of the High Commissioner by the end of October 2023, bringing to an end a 2-year tenure that began in 2021. Olawale Hamzat, NTA, London.
Have continued to surface in the build-up to the U.S. 2024 presidential election. Former President Trump has been in court answering charges, seeking to be disallowed to contest future elections. Kolo Muhammad tells us more.
His former Vice President, Mike Pence, however, gave up contesting, citing time is not right for him. The U.S. 2024 presidential election has been heating up lately, while potential Republican candidates battle former President Trump's emergence. The rest of America looks up to the judiciary to distill contenders, hoping to have credibility and decency. At the last Republican Party town hall, former Vice President Mike Pence, once considered top favorable contender, announced his withdrawal from the campaign and formal withdrawal from the U.S. 2024 presidential race. When pushed, he simply said he realized that 2024 was not the right time for him to contest to be president of the United States of America.
So after much prayer and deliberation, I have decided to suspend my campaign for president effective today. Now, I'm leaving this campaign, but let me promise you, I will never leave the fight for conservative values, and I will never stop fighting to elect principled Republican leaders to every office in the land.
The incumbent president, Joe Biden, is seeking a second term as president. Kolo Muhammad, NTA News.
Now, the European Union has donated 105 armored vehicles to Ghana to bolster the country's fight against terrorism and violent extremism. The vehicles, which include 13 Land Cruiser pickups, 10 GMC Syria, Toyota Land Cruisers, Toyota single cabins, Chevrolet Silverado and Syria pickups, form part of a 20 million euro support to Ghana to aid its fight against terrorism. Harman Jabani tells us more.
This is part of a broader 660 million euro EU package aimed at strengthening defense and security of the 4 coastal countries of the Gulf of Guinea. Inaugurating the vehicles in Accra, President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo said the latest attempts by terrorists and extremist groups to expand their scope of influence from the Sahel to coastal West Africa is worrying. Those actions, the president said, pose a substantial security risk to the people and stability of Ghana. He added that recent occurrence of terrorism activities in neighboring Burkina Faso, Togo, and Benin underscores the pressing need for Ghana to enhance counter-terrorism measures.
It is imperative to understand that no single country can confront the terrorist threat on its own. Collaborative efforts amongst nations facing this challenge and critical support from partners such as the European Union, who share our security concerns, remain crucial in mitigating the terrorist threat in the West African region.
High Representative and Vice President of EU, Joseph Borrell, said Ghana had a frontline role to play in ensuring regional stability and that the spillover of insecurity from the Sahel to countries in the coast of Guinea countries was no more a risk, but a reality that ought to be tackled head-on. Borrell said the delivery of the vehicles to Ghana confirmed the strengthening of security and defense partnership between the two parties, which added a new dimension to the long-standing partnership between them.
But countering terrorism requires more than armored vehicles and drones, requires more than military capacities. To prevent terrorism, we have to attack the root causes, because everybody has a cause, and we have to look at the causes, not to justify, but to explain, and to be able to act in a more intelligent manner.
He assured that other military equipment, including equipment for intelligence gathering and surveillance, military engineering, explosive ordnance disposal, and electronic warfare system will be delivered to Ghana to aid its counter-terrorism fight. Harman Jabani, NTA News.
This is the news on NTA International. It's time to take a break. More news when we return. Please do stay. Now, Kazakhstan is in a state of nationwide mourning after 42 people died in a fire at a mine. It is the worst of such disaster in years, which has led to a nationalization of the company's local affiliate. Kolo Mohammed has details.
The Ministry of Emergency Situations says at present the bodies of 42 miners have been found and many more workers are still missing, and officials say the chances of finding them alive is very low. Rescuers warned the night before due to the lack of ventilation in the mine and the force of Saturday's explosion, which spread over 2 kilometers. Kazakhstan's President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev traveled to the scene of the incident and ordered cooperation with ArcelorMittal be brought to an end. Flags were flown at half-mast, depicting the mood of national mourning declared by Tokayev. Since the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, about 200 miners have died in Kazakhstan, the vast majority at ArcelorMittal's sites. The group's arrival in Kazakhstan in 1995 was initially seen as a beacon of hope in the economic downturn that followed the fall of communism. However, a lack of investment and inadequate safety standards were repeatedly criticized by the authorities, while trade unions called for tighter government control. ArcelorMittal, led by Luxembourg-based Indian businessman Lakshmi Mittal, operates about 15 factories and mines in the center of the former Soviet Republic. Kolo Mohammed, NTA News.
Now, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz is currently in the State House, Abuja, on a visit to President Bola Tinubu. This is the first time the German head of government is visiting Nigeria since the inauguration of the new administration. State House correspondent Musbaudan Wahab reports that the visit is a follow-up to an earlier meeting between the two leaders in New Delhi in early September. Upon arrival, both leaders went into bilateral meetings before a further talk behind closed doors. A business roundtable is currently ongoing between the two teams, being chaired by the leaders. The Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Ali Pate, and the Secretary, Health Services and Environment Secretariat, Dr. Ade Dolakbo Fasawe, both have reiterated that health is the key pillar of the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu's administration. Let's have details from Shuaibu Onozi.
So thank you very much. Providing and empowering young girls positively is an investment for the future of nations. Collaboration towards this achievement is what informed the Susan Buffet Foundation's visit to Nigeria. The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Services, Dr. Ali Pate, and Secretary Health Services and Environment Secretariat, Dr. Ade Dolakbo Fashawi, received the representative of the Susan Buffet Foundation at the Kuchigoro Primary Healthcare Center for an inspection on healthcare delivery in the area.
Now that we have other vaccine-preventable diseases, including for cancer, we believe that our traditional leaders will continue to play the role to educate our people. Take diphtheria, a very simple disease that has already afflicted thousands of children in this country. 98% of those who have had diphtheria in Nigeria were not vaccinated. So it tells you that if they had been vaccinated, they would not have that.
Representative of the Susan Buffet Foundation highlighted some of the core focus of the foundation, top of which is to support women and girls.
I think we can collaborate with government to tackle preventable maternal and child deaths and help communities realize, empower them, give them the knowledge, the resources, the information they need to make sound decisions.
The truth of the matter is our health systems need strengthening. Some of these situations, when we set up a panel for a situation like this, it is for one, to bring closure to the incident of
The visit is coming at a time when campaign is being strengthened on protecting adolescent girls from cervical cancer with the introduction of human papillomavirus vaccine into the routine immunization schedule. Oloze Akubu, NTA News.
Now, the present administration has resolved to harness available material and human resources to disrupt the growing trend of cancer in the country. Minister of State for Health, Tunji Alausa, said to achieve this, the Ministry of Health midwifed the establishment of the National Institute for Cancer Research and Treatment, NICRAT, to provide leadership in cancer research. Basi Taipang reports.
The Cancer Week, therefore, was introduced in Nigeria to foster collaboration with partners, create awareness, build capacity, and promote teamwork for effective and robust cancer prevention and control in the country.
We are, however, in an auspicious period in our health system in Nigeria, and that gives us hope, and what we tag the renewed hope mantra of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which is also fully aligning and has prioritized treatment of cancer.
There are common disparities across the region which also affect our country, Nigeria. These include public awareness, limited access to primary prevention and early detection services, delays in diagnosis and treatment.
The Minister of State for Health said the theme addressing cancer care disparities through improved access to research and treatment is apt.
Strategic approach is also being put together to attract more funding for health research in critical areas like cancer awareness. I've also recently approved the request of NICRAT to transfer the cancer fund from the Federal Ministry of Health to the National Institute of Cancer Research.
It is our intention to ensure that we align with the National Health Development Plan, strengthen our public healthcare approach to cancer awareness and prevention, and to ensure healthcare value chain through cutting-edge innovative research.
The Cancer Week is also aimed at examining the progress made in cancer care in Nigeria and to profess solutions to challenges of access to affordable cancer care in the country. Basi Taipang, NTA News.
Be confident in Nigeria's ability to tackle cancer scourge, even as you push for increase in cancer budget in the country. These were the words of the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Atiku Bagudu, as he participated in a cancer awareness walk in Abuja. Uche Ogochukwu reports that the NTAi Cancer Foundation organized a 5 kilometers walk as part of its 2023 sensitization campaign.
If walk alone could eliminate cancer, then Nigeria could be said to be on track on winning the war against cancer. This multitude from all spheres of life are taking a 5-kilometer walk to create awareness about cancer, educate and encourage regular screening.
People need to know and start thinking more about the possibility of cancer patients surviving than just assuming that, oh, cancer is a death sentence. When people are, who should be at the peak of their lives have cancer, it affects them, their productivity, their family, and the country at large.
Now the federal government is providing some funds with which we are helping indigent patients to pay their bills.
NTAi Cancer Foundation, as always, is taking the lead in this struggle as the federal government promises better days ahead for cancer prevention and treatment in the country.
Early detection is the key to solving the problem of cancer in low-middle-income countries, including Nigeria. Most of the cases that we see come in late stage 3 and 4. By regular, even self-checks, the commonest cancer in women is breast cancer, we all know, followed by cervical cancer.
We've just rolled out HPV vaccination, which is one of the most effective way of eradicating the cervical cancer disease.
We draw attention, we continue engaging and we put pressure as well on government so that more resources can be made available for cancer treatment, cancer care, and indeed hospitals that are world class. Already we are seeing some of them in Nigeria. You don't have to go elsewhere today.
The event created avenues for free HPV vaccination for girls 9 to 14 years and razzmatazz. Uche Ogochukwu, NTA News.
Now, the paramount ruler of Igbira land, Ado Ibrahim, the Ohini of Igbira land, has passed away at the age of 95. He died in the early hours of today, Sunday, October 29, after a brief illness in Abuja. President Bola Tinubu has condoled with the government and people of Kogi State and the passing of the revered traditional ruler, His Majesty Dr. Ado Ibrahim, the Ohinoi of Igbira land. In a statement signed by Special Advisor to the President, Media and Publicity Ajuri Ngelale, the President said the death of the Ohinoi is a painful loss, describing the late monarch as peace-loving, affable and cerebral. Now let's take a quick look at Monday's weather prospect for Nigeria and other parts of the world. And that ends the news on NTA International. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Justin Bemu. You do have a wonderful night rest.